Well, this is the end for Hearthstone. I have to quit across 2 channels now. Despite there's still Hunter top 1. First class, right? But you die so often on turn 6 or just there's unreachable classes like Warrior and Mage. So let's talk about it. Let's break down the iceberg of problems that Hearthstone has and refuses to fucking solve. F tier. Removals, not really a problem. Strict mana curve, not really a problem. By the way, removals are cheap, and there's not that many of them, but they can only remove 1 minion. What's that? What's that gonna do? I might not even play big minions for a long time. What are you gonna remove? Exactly. So strict mana curve that you have to spend all your mana, like, all the time, and if you miss 1 mana crystal, this is what makes Hunter so powerful right now. They can fill up every single fucking mana crystal because they have the cards for it. That's what it is. It's not necessarily a problem, but it's E. Now that I think about it, because it's 1, 2, 3, boys. If you miss mana crystal at any point in the game, you have less chance to win. And Dr. Boom is trash. Remember that 7 mana doctor thing that I named Hearthstone after that seemingly has flavor because it's named Dr. 7 after all. No, it doesn't. It's not in the game anymore. It's garbage. Zeddy's annoying because he has way too much influence and not enough respect for the fun of the game. He's very competitive. Annoying. Reynad can't fucking make a card game. Ran away before I could even, like, touch him, bro. And talk about his name and stuff. Can't make a card game for like 6 years. We don't ask for much. Hearthstone is not that good right now. Even if it's a AAA title, something like Minecraft was not a AAA title and it destroyed fucking gaming as a whole. You can do that. You just have to find very carefully search for a way to make a proper card game. And everyone's waiting for it. You know, everyone still wants more. It's like, oh, digital card game looks good. Who can make quality stuff? Prove us, and you will have our attention, but Reina doesn't give a fuck. Generate legendaries. Discover all these legendaries from your ass. And legendaries sometimes pretty good. Luckily, it's not a big deal. Hero power. Upgrading hero power is very important. But using a hero power is desperation of oh, if you click the button, you wasted 2 mana basically for nothing. Yeah, it just reminds you of strict mana curve and how useless hero powers are, which is annoying. And because it costs 2 mana, it's not even flexible, doesn't even help you that much. Might as well just make all hero powers 1 mana at this point. That would be helpful. Lack of resource management. It's not really a problem, but it's not a problem for certain decks. You know, some decks do have a struggle with resource management, but they can't draw anything. It's very difficult to find card draw. Card draw is the least power-crept mechanic out of all the things in Hearthstone, and it makes no fucking sense. And the only resource management you're trying to do is not to get punished. But if you manage to avoid all the OTKs of the world, all the aggressive insanities of the world, and you can still play a deck that constantly draws cards, it's pretty good. If you can achieve that. So it's not a big problem. Rushstone is not a big problem. But everything has to have rush now. Everything has to be fast. Or have a battle cry. Just like everything has a battle cry. This comes together as a package. If it doesn't react to your opponent's board, it's too slow, and it's garbage, basically. Because you're dead. You're gonna be losing way more excess health because your 3/3 does not have rush. You get good trade, potentially, Or you heal, or you do both, right? If you have proper rush minions or proper battle cries. But everything being a battle cry, bro, it seems like the design of the card game is starting to find its limits because everything has to be a battle cry, and there's even like multiple versions of battle cry called Finale. Combo is an old one. There's more. Pathetic nerf. Sometimes they fail to nerf a card. Sometimes they nerf a card that shouldn't be nerfed, but the neighbor should be nerfed. Or just they don't know. They revert a nerf, and now it's broken again. And oh, oopsie. Why did they revert any nerfs? Just buff the fucking cards that are cool. Jesus Christ. There were bots in the game. And they were fine. So, not a big problem, but they existed. They were able to play Hearthstone for some reason. Crazy. Slavery, bro. Why make all these expansions, all these rotations? Just balance the fucking game. Who wants to be slave for Hearthstone, but I get so much money? Fucking bullshit slavery. D tier. Yes, the player base is stupid and it's exacerbated by copy pasta nonsense that everyone's getting fed by content creators. Play this deck, play that deck, over here. None of them are fun decks. None of them necessarily have good win rates. Some of them are sneaky. Some content creators are sneaky of how good the deck is. So everything is just stupid. The only thing you can like trust is stats. Just cold raw stats. But only if you want to win game. Yeah, and everyone wants to win game. Just power creep in general, because it's such a broad subject, is actually not a big problem, because some power creep makes the game more interesting. It's just the broken aspects of power creep that pisses me off. Dumb achievements, and now in recent times, just now it's announced, we have more terrible quests as well. The quest also feels like achievements. You get barely more XP. What is that? 10 more golds? Is that what it means? I hate it. I hate the achievement system. You have to navigate it, figure out what exactly it says, and even then, you have wasted time because you could have been playing Hearthstone and get the same amount of experience by ignoring the fucking achievements entirely. Mini sets over nerfs. Please give me nerfs. I don't want mini sets. I don't want any fucking content. A lot of shit just died because they have to print out mini sets. For some reason, that's the only solution to the problem, is just more cards. No, bro! Pressure creep. I try to change the name, add something to the power creep, so it's simplified. This simply means that there's pressure all the time to print bigger and crazier cards, and all of a sudden, you print a lot of broken shit at the same time. But they have to print things that they could sell to people. And it's just such a torment to try to understand the vibe of this. I don't know, bro. I think it just creates a lot of problems because it's so complicated to try and achieve all these things at once. Why be greedy? Just make a good game and monetize it properly and make it last for as long as possible. But I mean, it lasted 10 years. They literally celebrated 10-year anniversary. I celebrated 100,000 minutes played in Hearthstone across recent 2 years. I invested a lot of fucking time into this game. And it sucks balls and I want to leave. Pathetic synergies. Just like fun cards are not fun because they're not playable, there's some synergies that are also not playable in the game. But I'm not going to go into detail because I don't care that much. It's a D. And sometimes they print out synergies as packages, And if the entire package is not being played, it's like, what the fuck was the point? What was the point of any of these cards? C tier. Repetitive matchups. In recent times, I'm like playing against Warrior, 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 Warrior. Over here, there's War Warrior. And Death Knight, Death Knight, Death Knight, Death Knight. Two classes, it seems, only exist. There's people obsessed with control decks, and they just lock to Warrior. It seems the most control is the most sit back and relax and do whatever the fuck you want. And then there is a Death Knight that counters Control Warrior because it just plays the deck and it can survive technically. It's weird. It's insane, bro. But I queue in over and over again to the point where often enough in the game I want to just concede and ignore this shit. Burst tempo over passive tempo. Nobody plays passive cards at all. I try to play it, but they just disappear, and sometimes they don't even return anything. No effect happens. They just completely disappear. Reno is in the game and can make your things disappear, and that shit sucks, bro, because it's not a single effect. A lot of twisting nether effects just make no death rattles pop. Nothing, bro. So we're just trying to burst as much tempo, just vomit our hands with giant minions. Hopefully our opponent cannot answer. We're just fucking crossing our fingers. Instead of building boards, smashing into each other's boards. Honestly, minions should just have one attack. Just every minion should have one attack. Then we can play passive game all of a sudden better, bro. Or just less attack. Double as less attack. That would have been great. Because now we have control and aggro. Cards are too fucking fast and furious. And the moment the game slows down, you can reset the game, gain 30 health anytime you want. You can clear any board, any size minions. But tempo suffers from that because there's nothing in between. Even the Hunter deck is considered more aggro than tempo. Obvious, because that's the only thing that can kill control. And then there is super control, so tempo cannot ever exist. Cannot exist. It can only leech off some aggro decks, but the aggro decks are still very equal to tempo. So, I don't know how you play the game anymore. There's literally 1/3 of the game missing. It's pretty crazy. Talking about 1/3 of the game, I would easily migrate to Tam Brawl if it worked. There is Twist format. Doesn't work. Most of the time. It's just a joke. The game is literally turning into a joke. And Tam Brawl is not being updated. There's no cool content, nothing to look forward to every week. It's just a rotation of garbage. And nothing can be nerfed or fixed because it just keeps rotating as if that's what we asked for. I asked just for balance, just one simple thing, balance, bro. In every single game, I will always ask for one thing. Do you have balance in your stupid fucking game? Tentacles. Yes, that's a part of Hearthstone now. And people want to play 10 tentacles because that's the whole point. Reach the 10. Once you play the 10th tentacle, you can keep on playing the 10th tentacle, and your opponent will die. He will get raped, is what I'm saying. For whatever the fuck reason, you can play one card over and over again until you win. That's how dumb Hearthstone still is. You just win, and it's a competitive deck, bro. What the fuck? 2 mana, 3. Hearthstone is so strict on the way cards look, the way they look, that we don't have a 2 mana 3/3. We will never have a 2 mana 3/3. Even though there's some resemblance in the wild format or whatever. But we will never have these like minions who have slightly better stats for the cost. The design space somehow is incredibly limited, and it just shows some kind of nonsense. Reveals another piece of nonsense that they believe in. Yeah, people will freak out if there's a 2 mana 3/3 and 1 mana 2/3 or whatever, but those are still small minions, small cards. Why we can't have that? We finally we got 3 mana 4/4 and 3 mana 4/4 with Rush, bro. Crazy! It breaks the game, doesn't it? Nobody plays that. Nobody plays 3 mana 4/4 with Rush, bro. Except me, because I'm cool and stuff. Testing grounds. Why does just Hearthstone doesn't have testing grounds, please? Just print your stupid degenerate cards somewhere else. Test that shit with hundreds of players, but leave someone alone. Leave a safe haven of like good cards where good cards go, you know, and all the trash just gets fucking piled into the trash pile. Where's the testing grounds to split the things that should be nerfed away from things that are actually enjoyable to play? None of that shit exists. 1, 2, 3, guys. Fill all those mana crystals, you fucking lose. You lose on turn 5 after all. You better fill those mana crystals. You cannot play anything that costs 6 or more without losing sanity, without it being a Borkler, you know. High rolling. Hearthstone is known for being random. And other people can talk for me instead of me about this. This is a fun little subject that everyone has something to say about. But I just played Arena, and the greatest high roll of all time is just like, what are you going to discover now from your card? Because that's the only thing that matters. Discovers. Getting the exact thing, an exact moment, bam. The biggest high roll is just having Borklers, technically. For me. That's how I would define it. B tier. This is going to get disgusting because B tier is populated with many, many, many of these things. In total, we have 60 problems, as you know. And B tier is the most populated one. Because I don't fuck around, I talk about the biggest problems. Yeah, Marvel Snap is a pretty big problem Hearthstone needs to face. Because that game actually works. Wow. Oh, did I mention lack of nerves? Because that shit's going on. We have to wait so long for nerfs to happen. And all the time, there's new expansion, new rotation. Shit just is broken and stinky as hell. And right now, it's completely unbearable to just wait. Like, the game should just work. You know, you don't have to nerf unless you're pumping content that fucking sucks into the game. That does have to get nerfed now. Alright. One click play. Why can't I just click Hearthstone and play? Just click random, I get random deck, I play against random decks. That's what Tavern Brawl used to be about. But Tavern Brawl is still way too random and sometimes you do have to build a deck. I just want to click and play. If you want me to play Hearthstone more than just allow me to click and play and just whatever's going on in Hearthstone, I just want to do that. Day 9 came back. Day 9 came back and he was like, I don't want to play Hearthstone. Like, look at this, all of this shit going on that I have to get used to. I can't just click and play. It's not that easy. So I mean, in a way, he cares about the audience as well. But I pretty much invented this idea, you know, because I haven't seen it before. Well, yeah, click play, get random deck, get random opponents, blah blah blah. Maybe it's 50% win rates for each decks. That would be nice. Class Giants, bro. Every single class has their own stupid cards that they play all the time that you have to play around. Sometimes you can't play around them. But every single time the legendaries, the class legendaries are pretty nuts. And when they come down successfully, they crush your balls. Why are they so strong all of a sudden? Reno, the 25 mana card, bro. Reno has evolved. Who is Reno? You don't want to know, but he came back at Badlands and he's very bad now. The downside of playing Reno is that you have to have very different cards in your deck. But once you do that, you can make your opponent minions disappear. And that's pretty disgusting. Now, Yeah, the downside actually is that you cannot play your synergies and your combos efficiently, and people rely on that quite a bit. But it's such a terrible design to just make things disappear with one card, make it such a safe haven on turn 8, where your opponent gets protection for a turn, as well, almost immunity, gets armor and a new hero power. So it gets protection forever. Just because people can win the game before turn 8 doesn't mean that the 8 mana cards have to be extremely broken. Just because you follow one rule in your deck doesn't mean that one card has to do so many things that it's worth 25 mana instead of the actual 8 that it's worth. Which is weird, man. And all these effects are useful, so they are in fact 25 worth every single time. Reset the game exists. It's basically lifesteal. You can gain a ridiculous amount of health. This is the old school Reno effect. But now it's almost everywhere. Almost anyone can do it, and anyone wants to do it. Especially now that the Hunter is still number 1, you might want to figure out how to reset the fucking game. Then guess what? It feels horrible. You play your minions get cleared, your opponent goes back to 30, the game restarts. Literally restarts. It makes no sense. Game can also be delayed by freeze effects, mass freeze effects, armor. Sometimes even inability for you to play cards can delay the game. Thanks, Reno. Games are delayed because your minions just disappear and get cleared by many cards. Why is the game so delayed? Why can't we just play minions, bro? What the fuck is going on? What just happened? So Warrior and Mage are game delaying pieces of shit, bro, that have no good gameplay to offer. I don't want to see Mage and Warrior at all. You can delete that shit from the game. There's bad legendaries, by the way. Legendaries are expensive, and there's bad ones. Can you believe that? That's crazy. So yeah, I can't play minions. I'm sorry, guys. That's literally the most important part of the card game, though. To use the board as efficiently as possible. And if I can't use the board, if I can't have minions on the board no more, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? There's one thing you can do to protect your minions. You can add Reborn onto the minion so it resummons itself. Then you can give Divine Shield to the minion so it can't just be easily popped with the damage. You can play every single Death Rattle ever, and you will still lose because those are not efficient, powerful strategies. But at least you tried. You know. You can try things in Hearthstone. It's cool. Death Knight is a new class that has been created, and I hate every single aspect of it. It has runes, it has complexity of how you build the fucking deck. It has ridiculously powerful Borklers and lifesteal and game resets. And now it has plagues that everyone wants to play so badly for some reason. And yet it's still the most, like, normal class, technically. And then overly popular. And I hate it. The most hateable classes, as you can see, are very played. Warrior and Death Knights, man, I've seen plenty of that shit. And it gets tired. Death Knight even punishes you for drawing cards. How cool is that? Roping and slowness. So many times I queue into an opponent, the first turn they just rope me, they just don't want to play anything. They're in the toilet, stuck in the toilet, and they may never return. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. How long am I supposed to wait? What if they're gonna rope me forever? You know? They can do that, still, and not get punished by it. What? Slowness is unacceptable in games in general. What the fuck is Hearthstone doing, bro? They couldn't fix roping. Just make every single turn 15 seconds. Hearthstone will be 10 times better, bro. 15 seconds, so no one can actually OTK because it takes time to OTK. In one turn, just vomit fucking 10 cards. You couldn't do that. You couldn't make these complicated strategies. You have to play minions and trade. Do stuff, bro. Copy and compete. That's what people do. Copy and paste the deck. They click a few buttons, copy and paste the deck, and that's and they play it. And hopefully it has the best win rates. And that's how they compete, bro. But if it doesn't have good win rates, they have competitive spirit to tell you that you have skill issues now. Or that if you criticize a card, but it doesn't have a good win rates, oh my god. But you're just wrong because the numbers tell that this card is fine and you shouldn't complain about it. If you're not a legend player, you shouldn't fucking talk to me because I only talk to legend players. Yeah. What's the fun about, though? It's because it's a game. You don't actually earn any money from playing this game. You only earn good experiences, and being a little bitch who wants to tell me that I'm not legend enough, I mean, for fuck's sake, bro. I can easily reach legend, I'm just not competitive. There's nothing up there to climb and grab. Nothing to get from that. Only more higher difficulty and more toxic opponents. And people still like this and adore this shit somehow. Unbelievable. And it makes Hearthstone that much more problematic, bro. Predictable win conditions. When I can predict your win condition, yeah, the game's kind of fucking stupid then. If the game's... If you play the same deck with every single class, I know your class, and if I know what you're playing, very quickly, I can figure out your win condition, and then potentially I just want to concede sometimes because, well, your win condition is very good, even though it's predictable, I can't do anything about it. It shouldn't fucking happen like this. It shouldn't be predictable what your opponent is playing. It should be always a mystery of what's actually gonna happen throughout the game. You should be interested in the game, curious. But when it's predictable, it's like, wow, is this a good matchup? Is this good win rate against this fucking class? You're not interested anymore. Just see anything. Losing cool cards. So after rotation, we lose cool cards. It's bad. It's pretty fucking bad, because we get bad cards now. We have power creeped cards. We have shit that doesn't work. Instead, rotation just pointless. But the most important thing, I lose cool cards. I can't do cool shit anymore that I used to do. My decks just burn in hell now that I created in the past. They're worthless now. Whatever. They're still somewhere in the wild. They exist. That's great. In the burial grounds. Alright, more stuff. Haha. On A tier, unlocked, unleashed. Oh wait, it's Reno again. Did you know in Standard we have 6 brawls? Brawl is something that existed throughout the game, and Blizzard still thinks of like, we still have to power creep the brawl though, because it's not good enough. And so they invented more Borglers and all that shit. But Brawl is good enough. It was always good enough. It just removes your minions. They will disappear. They will trigger death rattles and fun stuff will happen, but most of the minions are going to disappear. What's the problem with Brawl? Why do we need more? It was bad enough. It was not fun anyways, but they still printed more Brawls. As if, like, we cared. Who asked for this shit? Who had the great idea? And now we have 6 brawls. Now you can put 6 brawls into your deck. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, bro. And if you put enough armor, you can just survive forever. layers and layers of armor you have to chew through to be able to do anything at all, and you're just losing hope because they can stack health on top of themselves instead of just resetting the game, you know, back to 30 health. They can keep stacking, bro. How much armor can a fucking character have? Your hero can have infinite armor, bro? Something is wrong. Armor has to deplete over time or something. Or just have less powerful armor generating cards. Thank you very much. And now armor is used as a means to deal damage. With Odin, with the legendary, just enables your armor to start dealing damage. But Odin is tier 3 because we're playing toxic fucking garbage. You know, and potentially Odin is still playable. You just don't know. The game is pretty intense nowadays, but we not know anything. You can't just pretend that stats rule the day, but whatever. A lot of people just attack me for attacking Odin because they care about playing Odin Warrior. But it's the most uninteractive shit where armor starts dealing damage too. You gain health, and your opponent loses health at the same time. I don't understand, bro. Like, it's so nasty, bro. So you clear the ward, stack layers and layers of armor, become invincible, and then do whatever the fuck you want. That's why people play warrior. Because of armor. And there's other armor classes that are just as toxic in that sense. Because it's so hard to kill them, it's so hard to do anything. If they can just heal in different ways and stack that health. Whenever they want, whenever it's convenient for them, they can stack it. And maybe I exaggerate, and armor is not a big deal, but since minions disappear, you are very far away from defeating your opponents. They delete your minions, stack a bunch of armor, and there's nothing you can do. Alright? And potentially upgrade their hero powers, and you're very far away from defeating them. So, like, they can switch armors, and they will forever live. I don't know how it looks like in simulation, but whatever. We have weapons. Weapons cannot be interacted with, by the way. There's removals, but it's kind of pathetic the way it works. And you can generate some crazy weapons in this game. The only thing you can do is taunt, is block with your minions. Some of them have that ability. It's a very premium ability at this point. And often enough, weapons are just meant to go face. Crazy, right? Not even used for anything special. Doesn't make your hero that much more cooler. You just go face, you just aggressively smash. The other hero. Since you can reset the game now, weapons are kind of essential too, and because they're not interactive, well, makes them very annoying. Luckily, you cannot just buff your weapons. But you can draw them, whichever one you like, if there's good ones. And there surely are very good ones. Rogue has ridiculous lifesteal weapon. Paladin has ridiculous hand buffing weapon. Warrior just has lots of weapons, bro. But only plays one. That's kind of weird. Plague Knight needs a weapon, of course, and they have 2 ridiculous weapons. Anyone who has weapons have ridiculous versions of them. Because that's mostly the classes that have the weapons. Except for Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter sucks. Even though it has a whole weapon archetype, and it sucks. It's such a weird thing. And maybe it's not justified to be at A tier. But somehow it made it there. So I'll respect it. Yeah, it really got me confused. It should be B tier, it's not that deep. Now that one card, bro. We talked about Odin. There's Brain. There's certain things Warrior really likes to do with one card. There's always that one card that enables OTKs and all that shit. We can find one card in every single class except maybe Hunter. Hunter doesn't care about that one card. There's Wheel over here. There's Zarimi over here. There's Helia. Odin and Brain. Oh wait, does Demon Hunter not have one card? Oh my god, crazy, right? When there's minion decks, they don't have one card. So what about Druid? Do Druid have one card? I don't know. I don't know. Paladin does have, like, very good buff cards. The weapon that I mentioned is insane. And the board buff thing is pretty insane, but because you can't establish a board, it's not relevant anymore. Whatever. So, yeah. Paladin relies on the board, and we would have that one card, but they can't do it. They can't just waste resources building boards right now. Shaman has that one card for nature spells. Rogue has learned how to create that one card using a neutral set, so they have Ziliax. Mage has Civ. Everyone has that one card. It's like their OTKs are even fucking boring because it relies on that one card. But it gets worse when there's more decks like it. They printed Titans, and Titans usually are that one card that just swings the game upside down. So if you can't have minions, guess what happens? The worst thing in the game that can possibly happen, lack of interactions. Why people liked Minecraft? Because you can look down and interact with that item. Whatever that thing is that you're standing on in Minecraft, you can interact with it. You can pick it up. You can put it down in a different location, bro. Whatever you see in Minecraft, you can interact with. But here, you will not see anything but an empty fucking board and people scared of playing minions. They just want to play spells. It's disgusting, bro. And it's getting worse. Lifesteal. It's probably worse than Armor. Armor probably can go to a B tier. But Lifesteal, bro? But technically it's the same thing as Armor. Armor can stack, that's the whole important thing. And you can just play every single Armor card in the game. This will block all the OTKs, so they're pretty sad when Armor happens. It's the rush for Armor. But with Lifesteal, you can reset the game, and Lifesteal works in stupid ways. Where minions attacking into a Lifesteal minion will still heal your hero, though. Like, Lifesteal heals your hero, by the way. That's weird enough. Like, a vampire steals life and then gives to your hero. Funny enough. Okay, whatever. Cool, I guess. But one minion, just a 4/4, can generate so much lifesteal, it's insane, just by existing on the board. They made it so it would always heal, but it became such a cringe evergreen keyword that, you know, Demon Hunter and Death Knight uses, and that makes them really toxic. And basically anyone who uses and can reset the game, like, annoying as fuck to deal with. Because they will not die. They're the same with Armor. You're just like, what the fuck? There's nothing sacred about health anymore. You can just reset the game. And there's nothing sacred about minions, so minions cannot exist to just punish people who just heal. So games sort of try to last long, but then there's quick games because the game breaks and you get smashed for 30 damage anyways on turn 5 or something. Like, it's so confusing. But with lifesteal minions, like, you can be at 10 health and all of a sudden with one lifesteal minion, now you're at 20. It healed for a lot. It does so much just by healing you, bro. Just by making health not matter anymore. The only thing you can do in the game You learn that you have to break your opponent. You have to summon giant minions that can actually attack. You have to have 15 points of burst damage that you accumulate over time. Lifesteal is another simple thing that gets in the way and makes you play the game in the most weirdest ways. It's almost like you have to learn acrobatic maneuvers to continue playing Hearthstone because the game just becomes so weird to explore of what decks are possible. You have to do backflips, walk on your hands, just to learn how to deal with Borklers, lifesteal, armor, weapons, blah, 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 all this shit. And then bunch of spells. Non-interactive material. Fun cards are trash! Have I mentioned that? Even if I did, I have to mention it again. There's so many cards printed, some of them are actually fun, but every single fun card, Blizzard doesn't want them to be good. They don't print the good quality fun cards that are like actually doing things. Usually they go to the neutral set and then become pack fillers because they're unplayable, even though they're fun. They would be a cool interaction in the game if you could just do something with them, but you can't. Just that simple. So all the garbage interactions that people want to play because they're overly competitive exist, but the fun cards that can only be played in like Tavern Brawls sometimes, they keep getting printed and they cannot be played. This is the weirdest shit I've ever seen, bro. The most fun card in recent times is ability to have a random deck, and you've played it for like 10 games, maybe. And that's it. And you had enough of that shit. It's a whiz-bang, boys. And that was a legendary. That's not something you would play for 10 games. But you did. You can only play this 10 games and like, oh, I had enough of that shit. Because, I went a little bit too high up in ranks. If I was still chicken rank, maybe I could play whiz-bang and other things, but like, holy shit, I went too high, guys. There's other game modes, apparently, but Arena sucked immediately. Like, it's just such a brutal experience. Everyone has mastered Arena, and I'm like, just coming in of like, can I play Arena? No. Too busy. Too competitive as well. Everyone's just desperate for gold as well. Alright. Just the game is so fucking toxic in that sense. Again, Tavern Brawl doesn't work, Twist doesn't work, it's very hard to access these game modes that are different, have different rule sets. It's very hard to warm up to them and learn whether you like them or not. And have this progressive investment towards them. You're just scared. Like, you're scared to waste gold on anything. You don't want to try the other game modes at all. Because they're very expensive. Just because of that. But they're expensive in terms of gold, in terms of experience, in terms of learning all those old cards and all the interactions in the game and all, passing through all the competitive people who have learned all this shit. It's bullshit now. And it's a pretty big deal because the whole mode is bullshit. You would be able to escape the fucking standard nonsense that I'm talking about. But the other game modes offer absolutely nothing. And they even killed game modes that used to be called adventures. We were fighting bots and all that shit, but nah. Too good. We have to kill it. Like Raron, the best content creator, is desperately playing bots. Or other people with different rules. Other people that he invited personally. Other players of Hearthstone that are his friends. You know, that he can control how the game works. That's the only way Raron is able to play the game for a reason. if people have missed that point. 1 card per turn. Sometimes it's not really a card game, you just have to play 1 card. You just see board, I play Brawl for 5 mana. You used all your 5 mana, the board disappeared. Great, wow, so much strategy. Holy shit. There's not that many choices then. If you have to just play 1 card. Oh, I play hero card. Oh, I'm so excited. Hero card is something if it didn't clear the board, you know, if it wasn't attached to this decision of like, oh yeah, it's time to clear the board and upgrade my hero power. If you just upgrade your hero, that's good. But if it's attached to a board clear, then you just played 1 card because you can play 1 card. And there's so many instances where it's boring like this. And also, since the games are very fast, and the games kind of like want to end at least at turn 7, how many cards can you actually even play across 1 game? I don't know, bro. You just simply don't get enough mana or enough good small cards to play to be able to enjoy more than 1 card per turn, bro. And if you don't have options in your hand, what's the point? The game just plays automatically then. Now I feel like a fucking bot, you know? Robot just like finding that 1 card that is playable in my hands. Fucking hell, how difficult is that? OTK and counters. This does include the weapon counters, the Reno counters and all that shit that doesn't work because it's not supposed to work. And then there's OTKs that break the game that deal exactly 30 damage. Which makes no sense, by the way. How is that even possible? And all you have to do is survive until the OTK or assemble it very fast. That's all you're doing in this game. And it's a problem that Blizzard now doesn't care enough to stop from happening. If OTK happens, kill it. That's it. Kill the thing. This is the worst thing you can have in your game. If someone is just waiting for OTK they're literally just playing Exodia, bro. They're just gathering the 5 Exodia pieces, vomiting it onto the board of like, oh, you have been so passive and you didn't fucking smash me in the face, and now I have Exodia. I have collected all these random fucking shit out of my deck to give you this slap in the fucking face, and you lose. It's an insult. OTK is a card game insult, bro. You have to remove every single one of them. And if you can't, your card game is a fucking insult too. It's insulting and assaulting players all the time. What are the counters? Guess what are the counters to OTK? Fucking armor. It's A tier, actually. The only way you can avoid insults is because you have thick layers of armor. How ironic. Because armor is also made out of iron, so it's very ironic. Only Iron Man can avoid insults, boys. Mana cheating, no cap, boys. There are 0 mana cards. We're going to talk about that. But mana cheating in general is annoying when everything slowly goes down to 0 mana anyways. Maybe mana cheating is great when you reach like turn 10. Maybe you can do that. But maybe just make it so cards can only be discounted past 1 mana or 2 mana. It can't be discounted until you reach 10 mana or something. There has to be a cap. A limit to what you can do, bro, in 1 turn, for fuck's sake. And only when you reach a certain limit in the game can just break and fall apart and all that shit. Things can explode. Just to end the game, right? Just make things unstable so the game ends or whatever. Make things complicated so someone can abuse some fucking weird feature. Yes, great. That should happen in control decks. Instead, what happens is I clear the board and I put armor on myself. Wow, that's what happens. The game does not become more unstable. The game becomes fucking ass to play. And then it gets worse when mana cheating just cheats out a ridiculous amount of minions in one turn, and all of a sudden you just vomited something that your opponent can barely counteract. The biggest problems on the ICEBERG S tier list is that there is, in fact, a card game that works that nobody wants to fucking play for some reason, but it's probably an adult card game, and that's why. They're not fucking mature enough. They don't have the balls to play a fair game of cards, bro. No. They would look at chess and they would tremble in fear of like, oh, it's too fair. That's how it feels like. But there's cards, there's different things to experience. It's fair, and you can experience every single card almost in the game. It's fair enough that every card is competitive, pretty much. There's some things that are toxic, and some things make no fucking sense. But holy shit, it's better than Hearthstone despite this being a dormant card game. What happened? This dead card game that is stopped its development cycles is still gonna beat Hearthstone though. It's gonna be the Hearthstone killer, boys. Let's go. Let's kill Hearthstone with this dead game that I love so much. That does not have these following three problems. Elder Scrolls Legends does not have a problem of board clears, of ugly design, or zero mana cards. Let's get ugly design out of the way. It's ugly design if the card is unplayable most of the time. It's ugly design if there's too much text on a fucking card. It happens way too often. Too much text when it's repetitive across the same cards. It could have been a keyword. It's definitely ugly design when there's not enough variety in classes to do different cool things. If classes, again, are predictable with what they do, incredibly predictable. But this one, I really need reference for this. Ugly design, sometimes the cards are just too weak. That's pretty ugly. I look at a card and I don't know how it works. Half of the text is hidden somewhere else. Something that should have been a choose one effect is not. It's just only Druid exclusive, by the way, this thing. Choose one. Oh my god. How important it is. Yeah, but I want the cards to be useful. Also, sneaky design of like, this is a 4 mana. 12/12. Haha, you just have to have 3 minions on board to prepare this. 4 mana 12/12? What the fuck, bro? But if you don't have any minions, I'm sorry. You only get a 4 mana 6/6. I'm so sorry, man. My god, if you do have 2 minions, then you only get a 4 mana 10/10. I'm really sorry, bro. They sneak in bigger stats because the fucking shit is ugly, bro. You take a closer look into the card and it's like, what the fuck is going on, bro? Why is that? And the ugliest shit of all time is this stupid Shadow Walk nonsense. We have to sit back. Not just the card itself is ugly because it doesn't quite do anything specific. You just do whatever you want. But you have to sit back. Your opponent has to sit back and watch animations when it unfolds. Oh, look, you played this spell. Remember when I played that spell? Oh my god, this is gonna be replayed now. Fucking, YouTube Rewind. Let's go, boys. Fuck this shit. Game is ugly as fuck. And if it had slick design and balance, you would see it. You would feel every card being like super cool and you want to play that card. And if you haven't played that card, you want to experience it. That's the biggest problem. 0 mana, no cap. This is the newest problem that's getting out of control, where you can play giant 0 mana cards, copy and paste 0 mana cards, and your opponent has no way to remove them, because they might be 8/8s, and there's not a Borkler that can kill them, necessarily, or they're just high-rolling and they do in fact have a Borkler to clear it. Either way, this makes no fucking sense, bro. Things costing 0 mana, things getting so cheap, mana cheated to such an extent, and the craziest part is you don't see it coming because it's very complicated. You have to look at the gameplay. You can't just look at the card and be like, oh, this can be cheated for 0 mana, though, with this and that. You have to really experience. So this can get broken, and then it's not going to get fixed because nothing gets nerfed, and blah, blah, blah. You have to just see shit unfold like this. And the game is going to be broken for as long as those cards are not nerfed, and if the cards are not nerfed, the 0 mana cards are just gonna dominate the universe, bro. They enable the OTKs, they enable the aggro insanity. They can take you by surprise, to say the least. And it's the stupidest win condition. Is the greatest scam of all. This is what you call a scam in Hearthstone. 0 mana just vomit is a scam. And then there's Borklers. The thing that kills Hearthstone the most is the one that kills all the minions the most. The Borklers. That's it. There's no commentary needed. I've said Borkler in my lifetime now for like 100 million times, and maybe I want to fucking stop saying that because it takes a little bit too much space in my brain right now. So, thank you guys for watching. This was a recap of the entire ICEBERG in 1 hour. Crazy, bro. It's insanity how many problems Hearthstone has and doesn't want to fucking fix it. Every other card game is desperately aware of all these problems and is actively, avoiding them. Except Hearthstone wants to just kill itself off and have the problems for the sake of having problems. So the best we can do is learn and get the fuck out of here as soon as possible. Hearthstone is dead, and this influence is just gonna go backwards now. All the way down to 0. You fucking bet, bro, that I will no longer be friends with Hearthstone anymore. You have gained your 100,000 points for long enough, you're gonna have it for 3 months, and it's over. Alright, I'm still gonna be subscribed and it's still probably gonna rise in power, but it might be easier than we think to destroy this influence after all. Because I'll be just playing competitors. I'll be playing Elder Scrolls Legends because I can. I have bought a new computer, and I can play Marvel Snap because it's a fucking good game. Well-designed good game, and it's fast. It doesn't have so many problems. You would look into the ICEBERG and you would look at all the problems that Hearthstone has and compare with what Snap has, and holy shit. Snap doesn't have 80% of these problems, bro. See you guys next time.